I never thought I'd be that guy. The one staring at his wife's phone like it's a ticking bomb. It all started with that damn letter. No return address. Just my name. Inside, one line. Look at her phone. You'll find what you don't want to know. I tossed it aside at first. Junk, some prank. But it burned in my head all day. And that night, when Claire was in the shower, I cracked. I knew the passcode. Of course I did. She trusted me. Or maybe, she knew I'd never look. Messages. So many. Most of them normal. Until I saw a name I didn't recognize. Adam. My stomach twisted. Can't wait to see you again. Last night was amazing. Photos. Some blurry. Some not blurry enough. I felt like I couldn't breathe. She wasn't just flirting. She wasn't just meeting someone. She was in love with someone else. But here's the thing. I didn't blow up. Didn't scream. Didn't wake her up. I just sat there, staring at the screen, feeling everything and nothing at once. And then I made a decision. I wasn't gonna confront her. Not yet. I needed to know everything. Who this guy was. Why she did it. And if this marriage was already dead, or if I could burn it down myself on my own terms. The next day, I started watching, tracking, checking her phone when she slept, following her after work. She said she was going to yoga. She did go to yoga. But after yoga, she drove across town to some random building, not a hotel, an apartment complex. I waited. An hour. 2. She didn't come out. I was shaking with rage, but I forced myself to stay calm. I drove home. When she walked through the door later, acting like nothing happened, kissing me on the cheek, I almost lost it. But I didn't. Instead, I started digging. Found the address. Looked up the name on the mailbox. James L. Cole. Not Adam. Who the hell was Adam then? The next day, I staked it out again. And that's when it got weird. I saw her arrive, but she didn't meet a man. She met a woman. Tall, dark hair, sunglasses. They went upstairs together. And 2 hours later, Claire came out alone. I didn't understand. None of it made sense. So I broke into that apartment. Yeah, I know. Crazy. But I needed answers. What I found inside froze my blood. Walls covered in photos. Of me. Me at work. Me at the grocery store. Me jogging in the park. Me with Claire. All pinned up like some obsession board. And on the desk, a folder. With my name on it. Inside, letters. Written by Claire. Addressed to me. Love letters. But all dated years before I'd even met her. I sat down on the floor. Tried to process. I couldn't. I still can't. The next day, I confronted her. But not the way you'd think. I asked her, Claire, how long have you known me? She went pale. Didn't say a word. Then whispered, longer than you think? And that's when it hit me. This wasn't just betrayal. This was a setup. For years. And I still had no idea why. I couldn't sleep that night. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw those photos on the wall. Me, frozen in time, watched by someone I never knew existed. And Claire. She knew. She knew the whole damn time. In the morning, I acted normal. Made her coffee. Kissed her on the forehead. Inside, I was losing my mind. I went back to that apartment. Kicked the door in. I didn't care anymore. I had to know who James L. Cole was. Inside, I found something I hadn't noticed before. A safe. Hidden behind a dresser. I pried it open with a crowbar. Inside, a USB drive, a burner phone, and a notebook. The notebook was filled with codes, times, dates, all matching moments from my life. The USB drive? Videos. Recordings of me. Private moments. Stuff no one should have been able to see. I felt sick. The burner phone buzzed in my hand. A text popped up. Stop digging, Michael. or you'll lose more than just your wife. I dropped the phone like it burned. I ran out, jumped in my car, and drove straight to my buddy Nate's place. He's an ex-cop, one of the only people I trust. I told him everything, showed him the notebook, the USB. He whistled low. Man, you're deep in something serious. I asked him what I should do. He said, you need to disappear for a while, figure out who's playing who. But I couldn't leave without knowing. That night, I confronted Claire for real. Who is James L. Cole? She started crying, said, my brother. I froze. Your what? My brother. He died 5 years ago. But before he died, he asked me to protect you. I couldn't breathe. Why the hell would he ask you that? I never met him. She shook her head. You did, but you don't remember. My head spun. I was caught in a nightmare. Claire handed me an envelope. Inside, a photo. Me and a man I didn't recognize. Laughing, drinking beer. In the photo, Claire was standing in the background, watching us. She whispered, you were best friends. But something happened. You blocked it out. He made me promise to watch over you if anything ever happened to him. I was speechless. Every piece of my life was a lie. And then she said the last thing I ever expected. Michael, he didn't just die. He was murdered. And now, they're coming for you too. I sat there, frozen, staring at her. Murdered? The word barely came out. Claire nodded, tears running down her face. He was into something deep, Michael. Deeper than either of us knew. He tried to protect you, but after he died, they shifted their focus to you. The problem is, you don't even remember why. My head was spinning so fast, I thought I might pass out. Claire, why didn't you tell me any of this before? She looked at me, broken. I wanted to, 1,000 times, but they warned me. They said if I told you, they'd kill you. And then me. And everyone we love. I felt sick. I couldn't tell if I was angry, scared, or both. I got up and paced the room. Why now? Why the photos? Why the messages? Claire shook her head. They think you're getting too close. You stumbled into something you shouldn't have. I remembered the safe, the notebook, the videos. I grabbed my coat. I have to finish this. Claire grabbed my arm. Michael, no. If you go any deeper, they'll kill you. I pulled away. If I don't, they'll kill us both. I called Nate on the way. Told him to meet me at the docks. It was the only place we used to go where no one listened in. At the docks, the cold wind cut through me like knives. Nate was already there, cigarette in hand. You look like hell. I feel like it, I muttered. I handed him the notebook. There's a connection to someone named Cole. Claire says it was her brother, murdered 5 years ago. Somehow I knew him. But I don't remember. Nate flipped through the pages, his face going pale. Mike, this isn't just small-time stuff. These codes, they're tied to old federal case numbers. He flipped another page, his brow furrowing even deeper. Mike, these are old federal case numbers. This stuff is classified. You shouldn't have this. I rubbed my face, trying to breathe through the rising panic. I don't even know how I got it, Nate. I don't remember anything before 7 years ago. Claire says her brother tried to protect me, and now they're coming after me. I need to know what the hell is going on. He looked around nervously, lowering his voice. These codes, they're tied to covert ops, stuff that doesn't make headlines. If Cole was involved and you were close to him, maybe you were part of it too. I froze. Part of what? Nate sighed, flicking his cigarette into the water. Witness protection. Or worse, Black Ops memory wipe. I've only heard rumors. People who knew too much, tangled in operations so dirty they erased their past. I shook my head violently. Number. That's not possible. That's some conspiracy movie crap. But even as I said it, a part of me knew he might be right. The gaps in my memory. The weird flashes of places I couldn't recognize. The instinct to trust no one. Nate looked me dead in the eye. Mike, if that's true, then you're living on borrowed time. Whoever these people are, they don't leave loose ends. I took a deep breath. Then it's time to stop being a loose end. Claire texted me as we drove away from the docks. They know. Get out now. My blood went cold. I showed Nate the message, and he punched the gas. We headed straight for my house. But it was too late. The driveway was blocked off with black SUVs, men in suits, earpieces, guns. I whispered, "They found me." And then Nate looked at me and said, "Mike, do you trust me?" I hesitated only a second. "With my life." "Good," he said, pulling a gun from the glove box and handing it to me. "Because this is going to get messy." We killed the headlights and rolled to a stop a block away. My heart was pounding so loud I could barely hear myself think. "They've already breached the perimeter," Nate muttered, peering through binoculars. I could see them, silent, coordinated, moving like ghosts in the night. These weren't regular agents. These guys were the cleanup crew, the kind that left nothing behind. "What do they want from me?" I whispered, my throat dry. Nate exhaled slowly. "Either to erase what's left of your memory, or erase you entirely." I gripped the pistol so hard my knuckles went white. "We're not running?" He gave me a sideways glance. "Mike, you don't run from people like this. You outsmart them, or you don't make it." He popped the trunk, revealing a small black duffel bag, burner phones, cash, and a couple more firearms. "I've kept this ready for years," he admitted. "I always had a feeling your past would come knocking." I felt a strange mix of fear and clarity. All those quiet years. They'd just been a pause before the storm. "Let's move," Nate said. We slipped through backyards, moving low and fast. My own house felt like enemy territory now. And then, a noise. A sharp crack from the direction of the garage, followed by a scream. "Claire," I breathed. Before I could think, I was moving. Nate grabbed my shoulder, but I shook him off. I didn't care about plans anymore. They had her. I reached the back fence and vaulted over, landing quietly in the yard. My heart slammed in my chest as I crept toward the garage door. I could hear voices inside. Cold. Calculated. "We told you not to warn him." Claire's voice, trembling but defiant. "I won't let you hurt him." A gun cocked. I didn't hesitate. I slammed the door open, gun raised. "Step away from her," I roared. 3 men in black suits turned toward me, weapons drawn. Claire's eyes met mine, pure fear and relief in one glance. And then the chaos erupted. Bullets tore through the air as I dove behind the workbench, firing blindly. Nate crashed in from the side door, gun blazing. One agent went down. The other 2 scattered, taking cover. "We need to go," Nate shouted. I grabbed Claire's hand, pulling her toward the side door. Gunfire shredded the wall inches from my head. We burst out into the night, sprinting toward Nate's car. Tires screeched as we peeled away, hearts racing. Claire clung to my arm, her breathing ragged. "I tried to protect you," she gasped. "I didn't know they'd come this fast." I looked at her, 1,000 questions burning in my head. "Claire, what the hell is going on?" She swallowed hard. "Mike, you weren't supposed to remember." I froze. "Remember what?" She closed her eyes. "What you did. Who you really are." I stared at her, my whole world tilting. "Tell me," I whispered. She took a deep breath. "You weren't just part of an op, Mike. You let it, and you made the call to erase everyone who knew, including me. The blood drained from my face. You chose to forget. But I couldn't. I found you again because I had to know if you'd become the man you wanted to be, or the monster you were. I couldn't breathe. I couldn't think. Nate's voice cut through the silence. Mike, they're still on us. I shook myself, focusing on the road ahead. But inside, everything had just shattered. I didn't know who I was anymore. And maybe I didn't want to find out. The car roared down the empty highway, headlights cutting through the fog like knives. My hands gripped the dashboard, sweat running down my back, and my mind was spinning out of control. Claire sat next to me, staring straight ahead, silent. Nate was driving like the devil was on his tail, and maybe he was. I need answers, I finally rasped. My voice barely sounded like my own. Claire blinked slowly, still not looking at me. You're not gonna like 'em. I don't care. She exhaled, shaky. Back then, you were Michael Carter, the agency's ghost. The guy they called when they wanted something done clean. No attachments, no loose ends. I shook my head. I was a real estate guy. A husband. That's who I am. She finally turned to me, her eyes glossy. That's who you wanted to become. You begged them to wipe your past clean, start over. But they warned you. Pieces might bleed through. Memories, dreams. And if they did, they'd have to clean up the mess. I felt like I was falling. You knew all this? The whole time, Claire bit her lip. I was part of your last mission. You were supposed to end me. I recoiled. I would never. You didn't. You couldn't. She looked down at her hands. You let me go, but you erased me from your mind, and from every record. I thought that was the end. Until I found you again, selling houses, smiling, playing the perfect husband. I felt sick. So what was real, Claire? Any of it? Her eyes locked on mine, fierce and raw. All of it, every second. But I knew one day this would come back. I just didn't think it'd be tonight. Nate's voice came from the front seat. We've got company. I looked back, headlights in the distance. Fast. Too fast. Claire grabbed my hand. Mike, if they catch us, they'll wipe everything, not just memories. Us. I clenched my teeth. Then we don't let them. Nate took the next exit hard, tires screeching. There's a safe house not far, he said. We can regroup. But deep down, I knew safe houses weren't built for guys like me. They were built to stall the inevitable. We reached an old warehouse on the edge of town. Nate slammed on the brakes. Move! We rushed inside, locking the heavy steel doors behind us. The warehouse was filled with old crates, rusted machinery, and in the far corner, a steel locker. Nate opened it, revealing blueprints, files, and an old encrypted laptop. What is all this? I asked. Nate looked at me, serious. Your past, Mike. The part you wanted to forget. But if you're going to survive this, you need to remember. I stared at the files, feeling my stomach churn. Then I opened the first one. My own photo stared back at me. Codename, Ghost. Status, terminated, but with a question mark. I swallowed hard. They've been hunting me for years. Claire nodded. And now they're done waiting. The lights flickered. Nate froze. They're here. I felt my heart stop for half a second. Claire grabbed my face, her eyes desperate. Whatever happens, fight for who you are now, not who you were. The doors exploded inward, and the world went to hell.